This is one of our destinations today. It's a spring in the Superstition Mountains. We're going to see a couple of old mining camps as well. We'll take you into those. There's not much in the way of remnants there, but kind of neat to see the old mining camps. And if you want to take some additional time, there's the old mines adjacent to the camps. With a little exploring and discovering, you might be able to find those as well. Join us as we explore and discover the gems on this hike in the Superstition Mountains. At Hidden Gems of Nature, I don't tell you what the destination is. Instead, I give you clues so you can explore and discover these hidden gems or your own hidden gems. So watch carefully as we identify clues to find these destinations. And remember, subscribe to Hidden Gems of Nature YouTube channel. We're heading east on Highway 60. We'll exit here and head north into Apache Junction, turning at this light and then through Apache Junction until we come to this light and turn right and head east. Following along the northern slopes of the Superstition Mountains, when we get to this Forest Service road, we'll hang a right and go into the trailhead. Welcome to Hidden Gems of Nature. We're in the parking lot of our trailhead this morning. I'll pan around so you can see what the trailhead looks like. This is one of the more popular trailheads in the Superstition Mountains. A lot of great trails off of this trailhead. Join us as we explore and discover the gems on this hike in the Superstition Mountains today. This is our first intersection on the hike, and we'll stay left. I crossed this creek about 15 years ago in January. The creek was full from bank to bank. It was flowing like a mountain stream. It was really beautiful. Although I'm sure it's been like that since then, I've never seen it like that. So I was kind of spoiled to see it that way the first time, and every time I come down to this creek, I'm reminded of that picture in my mind. I don't think I realized how unique that really was. It's interesting to me how many gems there are along the trail. Whether those gems are rock formations, animal life, flora and fauna, there's just lots of gems on the trail that oftentimes we miss or overlook. When I was 13 years old, I was hiking in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains in Philmont Scout Ranch. We were on a 5-day backpacking trip, and on the second day, we were hiking down an old 4-wheel drive road to our next camp. There were probably 10 or 12 of us in the group. And all of a sudden, one of the boys in the back of the group called out, "Hey, did you see that fawn?" We all looked at each other and said, we didn't see anything. And we walked back to the boy, and there, right on the 4-wheel drive road, sitting under the shade of a fir tree, was this little spotted fawn, just teeny as can be, bedded down in plain sight. And we as 13 and 14-year-old boys were oblivious to it. I think that was the first time I realized that there was a lot more to see than the rocks in front of my feet or the big trees and mountains around me. Since then, I've tried to enjoy all of the scenery on the hikes that I go on, and whether that's wildlife, flowers, or rock formations. I just enjoy the hike and to be out there. We're hiking down in between two mesas right now. I like this part of the hike because it's a little bit more contrasting than the rest of the hike. You'll notice that I look down at my feet a lot because these two mesas are made out of lava rock. And so the bottom of this little slot that I'm hiking through, or this little low canyon section that I'm hiking through, is all full of that jagged, that jagged lava rock that's been worn down a little bit from hikers. So I'm constantly looking down at my feet. Anyway, it's kind of a cool contrast as you hike down this section of the trail. You can enjoy all the little different sections of the trail as you're hiking to the hidden gems that we'll be getting to in just a little bit. You know what I like about a lot of these hikes is that all along the trail you see lots of little gyms as we head into our destination. Here's one of the little gyms here. I've watched people hike by. They don't even notice it or see that it's here. But there's a couple of pools down behind me, a couple spillways. Enjoy this gym as you hike into this destination. Along with the old mining camps in the spring, it is the middle of March, so the desert wildflowers are blooming. And these are some of the wildflowers that we saw along our hike today. The first picture with the poppies in it was taken in the morning while they were closed, and the second picture was taken later in the morning when the sun was out, when they were open. So you might think we're down in the spring right now with all the greenery that's around us. I'll pan around so you can see all of it. This is actually not the spring. The spring's about a quarter of a mile upstream from here. This is a little narrow section that goes through the canyon walls and pools up and surfaces. So you've got a number of willow trees and a bunch of reeds down here. It's very green and cool. Nice little riparian area. You can hear all the birds and everything around here as well. It's really a beautiful little spot along the trail. Enjoy this gym as you hike along this trail to your destination. We come out of the side canyon where the spring was and down into the main canyon. When we come to this main section, we'll come to a T intersection and we're going to take a left and head north. The miners' camp from here is only about a half a mile. It's right on the trail just after we pass the wash. Plenty of water here for campers in the spring usually, even on a less than average year like this year. This is the first mining camp that we came to. As you can see, they had some structures in this camp. I don't know if there was a cabin here or not, but there's some structures here, and then back against the back wall there's some structures. I think the walls in the back of the camp were made for holding water, but I'm not positive. Just something I read. On the opposite side of the gully from the camp, there's a number of pit mines. We went over across the gully and looked at several of the pit mines on the other side of the gully. So this is the spot on the trail that you turn and head over to one of the mining camps and to the headwaters of the spring. We actually passed this on the way down, went to where the spring surfaces and to the trail intersection to the first mining camp. And on our way out, we're going to stop here at the second mining camp and the spring. As I pan around, you can kind of get a feel for the area. You may miss this cairn altogether, but there is a cairn right here. You hang a right, head south over towards the spring. This is the cairn as you're heading west on the main trail. It doesn't stand out particularly well, so you have to be looking for it. As soon as you get to it, you can look back east across the wash and you can see the cairn made out of the lava rock. In fact, we'll go ahead and head over to that cairn right now. Behind me is kind of a flat area. That's the old miners' camp. You can see the big willow tree there over my shoulder. That's where the spring originates, is right down in there. It's really quite nice down in here. Not many remnants of the camp, maybe just an old bed spring is all. We'll go down there and take a look. We've come to our final destination today. This is a spring. There's a miners' camp right next to the spring. You've seen the other miners' camp as well. It's a great little hike. It's kind of nice that you can see so many gems along the trail and at the destinations we go to. Hope you enjoy this hike in the Superstition Mountains. Kind of surprised at how clear the water is here. We'll walk down next to the water, see how well you can see down into it. Kind of a pretty little spring, and when the water's flowing like it is out of a spring, makes it kind of pretty. You can hear the bees buzzing in the background. Anytime there's water in the desert, it's always a conglomeration of bees. Willow tree just starting to bud out after winter. Really quite lush down in here. We're just downstream from the spring. You can see the spring behind me in the wash. I'm standing down in the bottom of the wash. Earlier, we came to the pools of water that had surfaced probably about a quarter mile further downstream. You can actually start there and come right up the wash to this spring, or you can go cross country like we did, either one. Coming up the canyon's always kind of fun because you see a lot more interesting rock formations. But here we'll walk up towards the spring from this angle so you can get a view coming upstream into the spring. As we leave the spring, we'll head across the flat over to the miners' camp. Again, this was just a camp. No structures or buildings were built here, but there's supposed to be a couple of mines up on the mountain to the east of us. There's the mountain. According to some of the maps and some of the rangers I've talked to, it's up there on the northern slope somewhere. This, of course, is the western facing slope. We'll walk up to where the camp is. What signifies the camp today is the large fire pit and the old bed spring. I don't know if this was the original, but it was right in this area under the shade of an old mesquite tree. This is the old miners' camp.